Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I am giving this dresser a makeover. It is a bit outdated, but it is in great condition and it's solid wood on the drawers. It definitely needed an update, but I took off the panels and they're not wood, they're plastic, and actually it was a really weird hard plastic that crumbled a little bit. So I definitely knew they weren't wood as soon as I started peeling them off. But as soon as I saw the dresser, I knew that they had to come off because I had another idea for these top drawers. Now, they did have nails, so what I did is just pried them off with the putty sort of knife thing that I have here, and it's metal, so it's a bit more sturdier than some other flimsy ones. And it came off pretty easy. I just needed to use my hammer to hammer it in a little bit more. And it bent too, which also was very odd. So I didn't want these on here. See how it broke off there? Yeah, not wood. And I had done a reel about these panels coming off, and every time I make a reel about these details coming off, I get lots of comments about how I ruined it. No, I didn't ruin it. It was ruined with plastic on it, and I wanted to make this piece more modern and have some designs on it. So I made it even better. Now there were nails, like I said, so I took those out with my pliers. Some of them were a little bit difficult to get out, but I did end up getting some, I did end up getting most of them out. So for the top, now it does look like it is solid wood, but it's actually wood veneer. And there are a few layers of them on top of solid wood. I guess back then it was cheaper to do it that way, but there is wood underneath. So I sanded this very, very carefully as to not go through the veneer. And I did on one corner, but I was able to fix it and cover it up. Now when I had gotten the panels off, what I did is I got my detail sand, or my orbital sander, and just sanded them really smooth. There were bits of hard glue on there, so I managed to sand those off as well. And when you have a few little imperfections like this or bumps, you can add transfers or stencils or designs to hide those as well. I used wood filler. This is the DAP wood filler on this, and I had gloves on, but a piece of the veneer or something sharp had gone into my finger. Luckily it did not go through the glove, but it just kind of poked it and hurt. And once the wood filler was dry, as you can see here, I sanded it really smooth. There were still a few bumps that were difficult to remove, and that's why I had the transfer go over the top. I covered the top with plastic and then used green tape just to go around the edges to make sure it was on securely. I then used my furniture cleaner and sprayed the entire piece, and then wiped it all down with some paper towel. And after that, I sprayed it with water just to remove any extra cleaner that was on there. So here's what it looks like so far. It's all wrapped up, cleaned, sanded, and ready to go. This is the first time I'm using this primer. It's called Aqualock in black. And I wanted this primer so that I could use it underneath dark grays and black paint. Now I used the air from the sprayer just to remove any dust that was in the corners, and then I started to spray. I did add a tiny bit of water to this primer, and it sprayed really nicely, as you can see here. I did about 2 coats for this. I did sand in between primer coats with 220 grit sanding paper, and then I started to use the paint once it was all dried and done. This is called Slate in Cottage Paint, and it's a very dark gray. Once the paint was dry, I did about 2 to 3 coats of the paint. And I say 2 to 3 because I think it was 2 coats that I did, but in some areas like the sides, I tend to use 3 because there are areas where it needs more paint than other places. For the top, I made sure all the dust was gone and I wiped it down, and then I did a beige paint wash. I used paper towel to wipe it on and my spray bottle with water in it. But I would suggest using a rag cloth, which I was all out of. That's why I was using paper towel. I got the hardware and cleaned it with water, and then I sprayed it with Champagne Rust-Oleum mist, but I didn't actually think that it matched afterwards, so I went and got my gold bronze, I think it's called, the Rust-Oleum spray, and I used that one instead. So for the drawers, I had already put one design on the other drawer on the left hand side. This is the middle drawer, and I'm putting the second design on it. What I did first is measure out each transfer and then placed them on to the surface and used my tool to rub the transfer on. And as you're rubbing, pull back the plastic, and if the transfer hasn't stuck, then you just try again with the tool and it should come off onto the surface like these. Then it was time to spray my top coat, and this is gloss in the Serenity line by Cottage Paint, and I will put all this in my description. I did about 3 coats for the top. I always find the top never gets enough when I'm spraying it. Once the hardware was dry and it wasn't very sticky anymore and completely smooth, I put all the hardware onto the drawers, making sure the screws were all tight. Here's what the dresser looked like before. The drawers open and close really nicely with dovetail joints. And you can see those panels on the front drawers. And here's what it looks like now. It turned out really beautiful. I love the different designs on the drawers. I love the handles, and I did keep those original handles because they just matched this piece so perfectly. This piece has sold right away, which I'm very happy about. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Take care.